My name is Isa. I am 26 years old. This is my story. A story about love and loss. A story that still hurts, even today. I met him when I was just 19. His name was Armin. He had soft eyes, a kind smile. When he laughed, my world became light. He made me feel safe. He made me feel loved. We met in college. He sat behind me in class. The first time he talked to me, I was shy. I did not know what to say. He asked me for a pen. I gave it to him. He smiled and said, "Thank you." That smile stayed in my heart forever. Days passed. We started talking more. At first, just hello and goodbye. Then we talked about music, about movies, about food, about life. Soon we became friends. He was funny. He made me laugh. But he was also deep. He understood pain. He once said, "Pain makes love stronger." I didn't understand it then, but I understand now. One evening, he waited for me after class. He looked nervous. He said, "Can we walk together?" I said yes. That evening, we walked for hours. We talked about our dreams. He said he wanted to travel the world. I said I wanted to write a book. He looked at me and said, "I will be the first one to read your book." That night, I couldn't sleep. My heart was full. A few days later, he said it. He said, "Isa, I think I love you." My heart stopped for a second. I said nothing. Then I smiled and said, "I love you too." That was the beginning of a beautiful love story. We started spending more time together. We went to the library. We sat in the park. We shared coffee. We shared silence. He held my hand. He looked into my eyes like I was his world. But love is not always easy. Sometimes life has other plans. After college, things started to change. Armin got a job in another city. I stayed in our hometown. We promised to talk every day. We said we would visit each other. We said distance would not break us. And for a while, it didn't. We called every night. He told me about his new job. I told him about my writing. He said, "I miss you." I said, "I miss you more." But slowly the calls became short. The messages came late. He said he was tired. He said he was busy. I believed him, because love believes. But I could feel something was wrong. One day, he didn't call. Then 2 days passed. Then 1 week. I waited. I cried. I called him. No answer. I messaged him. No reply. Finally, after 10 days, he replied. Just one message. "We need to talk." My hands shook. I knew something bad was coming. We met at the same park, where we first walked together. But this time, everything felt cold. He looked at me, but he didn't smile. I asked, "What's wrong?" He said, "I'm sorry, Aisha, I can't do this anymore." I said, "Do what?" He said, "This relationship, the distance, everything." I felt my heart break inside me. I asked, "Don't you love me anymore?" He said nothing. Silence hurts more than words. Tears fell from my eyes. I said, "So this is our goodbye?" He said, "Yes, I think it is." That was the last time I saw him. Our last goodbye. I went home that night and cried for hours. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I stared at my phone, hoping he would call again. But he never did. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to months. But the pain stayed. I saw his photo once on social media. He was smiling with someone else. My heart broke all over again. I asked myself, was our love not real? Did he ever love me? Why did he leave me like that? But I got no answers, only silence. I thought my life was over. After he left, everything felt dark. I did not want to get out of bed. I did not want to talk to anyone. I did not want to smile. My heart felt heavy, like 1,000 stones inside. I kept thinking about him, about the way he said goodbye, about the way he left without a fight. I asked myself, if he really left me, why didn't he stay? But no one answered. I started losing myself. I stopped writing. I stopped laughing. I stopped living. People around me said, "You will be okay. You will find someone new." But I didn't want someone new. I just wanted him. Every night, I cried into my pillow. Sometimes I screamed. Sometimes I whispered his name, Arma, over and over again. One night, I walked to the same park, the place where we said goodbye. I sat on the bench alone. I looked up at the stars, and I whispered, "Do you miss me?" But of course he wasn't there. Weeks, then months. Slowly, very slowly, I began to breathe again. I forced myself to get up. I cleaned my room. I opened my laptop. I tried to write again. The words were broken, just like me, but I kept trying. I started walking every morning, just to feel the sun, just to hear the birds, just to remind myself that the world is still here. I joined a small library group. We read books. We shared stories. I met new people. Some were kind. Some were funny. But none of them were him. Still, I smiled sometimes. Not big smiles, but small ones. One day, my friend Maya said, "Aisha, you are strong." I said, "No, I'm not." She held my hand and said, "Then why are you still here?" I realized she was right. I was still here, still breathing, still standing. Maybe I was strong. 1 year later, it was a rainy evening. I was at home reading a book. Suddenly my phone buzzed. A message from him, from Armin. I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't know what to feel. The message said, "Hi, Aisha. I know it's been a long time. Can we talk?" My heart started beating fast. I sat there frozen. After all this time, why now? I didn't reply that night. I couldn't. I thought I had moved on. But just one message, and all the pain came back. The next day, I wrote back, "Why now, Armin?" He replied, "I never stopped thinking about you. I made a mistake. I want to talk." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to block him. Part of me wanted to hear his voice again. So I said yes. We decided to meet. It was a cold afternoon. We met at a small cafe. He was already sitting there when I arrived. He stood up when he saw me. For a second, it felt like the old days. But then I remembered the pain. He said, "Aisha, thank you for coming." I said, "Just tell me why." He looked at me, eyes full of regret. He said, "I was scared. I didn't know how to love you from far away. I didn't know how to hold on. So I let go. But it was the worst mistake of my life." I stayed silent. He continued, "I tried to move on. I dated someone else. But I kept seeing your face, hearing your voice. I thought time would help. But it didn't." I looked at him and said, "You broke me, Armin." His eyes filled with tears. He said, "I know. And I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I just wanted you to know. I never stopped loving you." My heart was confused. One side wanted to hug him. One side wanted to run away. I told him, love is not just words. Love is staying even when it's hard. He nodded. "I know. I failed you." Then he asked, "Can we try again?" My heart broke again, but this time in a different way. I looked at him and said, "I don't know. I need time." I need to find myself again first. He smiled softly. I will wait, he said, and he left. That was not another goodbye, but it was not a new beginning either. It was a moment where I stood strong, a moment where I chose me. And maybe that's the real love story, the one where I learned to love myself again. After our meeting, I couldn't sleep. My heart was full of questions. He said he still loved me. He said he would wait. But could I trust him again? I started writing in my diary again. Every night, I wrote how I felt. Some pages were full of pain. Some pages were full of hope. And some pages were empty, just like my heart. He sent me messages sometimes, kind messages, soft words, but I didn't reply. I needed time. One morning, I stood in front of a mirror. I looked at my eyes. I looked at my tired face. And I said, Aisha, it's time to live again. So I made a list of things just for me. Take a trip, write a short story, cook something new, talk to new people, learn something different. That week, I booked a train ticket to a small town. Just me, alone. I packed my bag, and I left. That trip changed me. I saw mountains. I saw rivers. I saw children laughing in the street. I sat by the lake and felt peace. Real peace. I smiled again. A real smile. Not the kind you fake. After the trip, I came home. And there it was. A letter at my door. It was from Armin. Inside, he had written, I know you need time. I understand. I just want you to know, no matter what you choose, you are the best part of my life. Love, Armin. Tears filled my eyes, not because I was sad, but because I was healing. That night, I messaged him. Just 3 words. Let's talk soon. The next week, we met again. Same cafe, same table. He looked better. I looked stronger. We talked for hours, not about the past, not about pain, just about life. We laughed. We remembered funny moments. We even made new ones. At the end, he said, I still love you, Aisha. And I said, I believe you now, but I also love myself. And he smiled. We started seeing each other again. Slowly, carefully, no big promises. Just small steps. We went to movies. We cooked together. We shared books. It felt nice, but still something felt different. One night, I told him, Armin, I don't want to lose myself again. He held my hand and said, You won't. I will never ask you to forget who you are. That moment gave me peace, but life still had more tests for us. One day, Armin got a big job offer. In another country, he asked, Aisha, will you come with me? And I was quiet, because this time I had dreams too. I was writing my first book. I was helping young girls write. I was building something for myself. So I said, No, Armin, I can't come with you. Not because I don't love you, but because I finally love my life too. His eyes filled with tears. He said, I wish we could have both. I said, maybe we were never meant to last forever. Maybe we were meant to teach each other. We hugged, not like the first time. This time, we didn't cry loudly. We held each other and we smiled. I said, thank you for loving me. He said, thank you for teaching me how to love. That was our last goodbye. But this time, I didn't feel broken. This time, I felt whole. Because I found something greater than love. I found myself. And today, I sit here telling you this story. Not with sadness, but with strength. Yes, he broke me once, but I built myself back. And maybe that is the greatest love story of all. See you in the next story. Until then, everyone will be fine.